Hello YouTube, this is Insane Monster. Now then, before we begin, if you look into the description below, there will be links to merchandise that, I'm mostly sponsoring Amazon and such, but it will be merchandise in regards to proper collections of both the Black Clover anime and the manga. With that being said, I do appreciate you guys being patient with me and such, and understanding that, most of you understanding that there is real life to do besides making these videos, which I do enjoy doing. Now then, before we start, and before the what if, please remember to enjoy and to help support this channel if you can or want to or whichever. But either way, I'm glad you're enjoying the vids. With all that said, hit it. Now then, when we last left off, the group has invaded into the Dark Castle, which the elves went into to complete their ritual to become reincarnated. As they entered, they were all scattered about. They all got scattered in the same location and such, as the fights were going as similar as in canon, with Mereoleona versus Vetto, the taken over captain of the Purple Orcas, was going up against Flagoleon, and Noelle was going up against Fauna. As Fauna looks down at Noelle, who is wearing her Valkyrie armor while also flaring her wings to have more aerial superiority as well as speed, with her armor allowing her to avoid Fauna's attacks. Fauna laughed a little bit as he remarked, "You control that armor well, even more so with those wings. It's a shame you were born such a disgusting line. The same you were born a human. You might have actually made a good elf with that armor." Though, the only thing I could be grateful for is being friends with my Asta. Looking at Noelle angrily. As the fight goes similar to as in canon, as Noelle accidentally blows the top part of Fauna's body off, with her laughing as he regenerates it, remarking about how they have supernatural magic now. As for Asta, him and Mimosa get their bearings, seeing where they are in the castle. Mimosa looks at Asta and asks a question. "Asta, what you said when we were entering the castle, that elf, Fauna, he's your..." Asta sighed and remarked, "Yeah, it's complicated. But, yeah, I was adopted by the Crimson Lions. Mereoleona was the only one capable of, containing my firepower at the time, so she became the one to take care of me. Her and the maid who had water magic to put out the flames. But later on, I was given my bag." As he points at the bag he keeps at his side, and that it came with a letter that told me everything. It didn't explain much, but it did explain that it was written hastily because they were under attack. They sent me away in order to protect me, and I ended up near the Crimson Lion's hideout apparently, crying and setting the entire forest on fire, which is how they found me. Looking at him, he remarked, "So you're half dragon, half elf?" As he scratched his head, saying, "Yeah, you already knew that I was adopted. But the elf thing's a bit harder to explain. I'm not even sure of the details myself." As Mimosa stated, well, most people would automatically think, if anybody, Mereoleona would have had a child with a dragon of all people. So it wasn't really that hard to keep it secret, huh? With Asa remarking, "Yeah," as he gestured for her to hop on his back as he flared his wings. She nervously hopped on as they went up to the nearest power signature, finding Elfril. Realizing who this is, Asta remarks, "Oh, just great. A possessed captain." As Elfril was kinda losing it with his painting and making all kinds of monsters. Asta told Mimosa to use her plants to wrap around him to hold on tight. He did so as he began aerial combat. The monsters that Elfril were painting were coming at an insane rate. From multiple serpents reaching up to them, to large and small enemies coming at them, even with the fire breath and his demon slayer and demon destroyer sword being used, he still got hit quite a bit. Not to mention he had to take a couple of hits in order to protect Mimosa from them. She using her plant magic to heal him mid-fight. As this went on, outside of the Dark Castle, similar to in canon, why with the Black Bulls fighting off the elves that are coming at them, they're at least holding their ground. But luckily, Yuno shows up with some reinforcements from across the country to help deal with this. As this helped in taking care of the elves that were attacking them. Of course, Charmy just had to give everybody food, which was recharging their magic. Yuno asked, "Where's Asta and the others?" being gestured about the Dark Castle. Seeing that, yeah, this was pretty serious. This is when Yuno's pendant floats up and shoots a light at the castle to open it up. As he went on taking this chance to go in, obviously like in canon, Charmy latched on to follow along. With Yuno being in the same place as Patri, Raya, and another elf. Things went similar to in canon, but Yuno did his best to keep them off of him. While that was going on, Charmy landed in the mess that Asta and Mimosa were dealing with Elfril. As this was going on, Charmy went up to Ril and offered him food. Immediately, because Elfril seems to be losing it, he smacks the food away, causing Charmy to lose her temper. Being blown away as he lands on her giant sheep, her rage begins to build and she grows as the sheep sheds its fluff, turning into a wolf, awakening her food magic. as Mimosa was describing that she is apparently half dwarf. Asta knew, well, Asta stated, well, yeah, she's half like me. I could tell that much from the scent. With Mimosa looking at him, stating, why didn't you say anything? I didn't want to invade her privacy. With Charmy stating, what? I'm half dwarf? With Asta being shocked. How do you not know? You're like 20. As Charmy snapped out of the shock and was getting ready to fight with her new wolf spell friend. But before that, he raised up one of her arms to the side as drool began to fall from her mouth, stating, let's try to make these monsters a little bit more bite-sized for you. As sharp-looking scales begin to form on her skin, encroaching upon her face and her arms and legs. This is when she uses a spell. Cotton Blade Dragon Creation Magic. Draconic Sheep Butcher. Type Marshaluna. As this created a giant sheep with a metal attachment to one of its arms. And at the end of it, a crescent blade that resembles the kitchen knife from Italy known as the Marshaluna, aka Crescent Moon Knife. And yes, that is an actual cooking knife from Italy. As Charmy yells at them to just hurry up and do what they gotta do, and he'll teach this rat a lesson for wasting food. With the giant sheep butchers slashing and hacking at Elfril's paintings, the wolf was chowing down, devouring the mana. As Asta looked at this, stating, yes, he got it, and begins to fly off. Mimosa asking the obvious question, how long have you known she was a half-breed? The whole time. When you're born a half-breed, you get used to the scent, so when someone has a familiar scent like yours being a half-breed, you get pretty good at recognizing it. If I'm not mistaken, you don't have a similar scent right after he got that reincarnation spell put on him. Weird. Which Mimosa is like, I have so many questions now. And I don't think we're gonna keep getting any real answers. As they fly up to where they can sense Yuno, the whole thing plays out as in canon, with Yuno getting his pendant stolen, Raya finding that the elf that grabbed it is actually not one of them. With a weird, disturbing smile, we end up with Raya having a hole in his chest now. As we just see this elf place the stone in the pedestal as he remarks, "Ah, oh, so much work. First I had to get those dragons, provoking them by messing with their heads in order to clear a nice path for me to enter this world safely. Then I had to take care of the elves so that they wouldn't help that damn Igneal rebuild his kind, and even get myself a nice possessed body. But then they got in the way." As a black thing emerged from the pedestal, looking like some weird cocoon, a soul just leapt out of the body of the elf and went into it, as they continued hearing the voice as it stated, "And now There's more potential dragons. Always such a pain, those things. But I have my body now. As he just begins to laugh. With Patri trying to attack him, he doesn't fare that well, as he pierces Patri's arms with spikes and tells him the truth about everything. He was the one who messed with the dragons that caused their civil war. He was the one who messed with the humans that have them use that magic item to attack them and kill his biggest, well, our biggest threat. That damn Igneal and those lacrims. But it seems as though it didn't go quite as planned. From what I saw, at least. Those damn humans couldn't actually finish the job. As Patri was hearing this, Asta came through, just seeing what was going on, as Nozel came and entered as well, just seeing this mess going on. Patri was losing it, as Asta was starting to get pissed, telling Mimosa to get down. He complied, backing off as he yelled, "You know!" With him acknowledging this, they both charged at the word magic devil. Asta going into Black Asta Dragon mode and attacking as best as they could, getting some hits in, but he healed instantly. And when they go in for another attack, he just uses his magic to force them to slam into the ground and to have immense weight put on them. This didn't slow them down as much. Yuno was starting to get up bit by bit, and Asta was just standing, looking at the word magic devil with fury in his eyes, with the devil remarking, "Ah, yes, you're the one who got away." Didn't think they used forbidden magic to send you to the future, though. Honestly, so annoying. As he recognized something, a mana pulsating from him that wasn't his. As he recognized it, seeing a form emerge from Asta, seeing it as something he recognized, he felt fear. The dragons were the only thing that could ever make a devil, but especially a high-level devil, feel fear. But it was a bit too late. The five-leaf clover was complete. Patri's grimoire was now corrupted, the fifth leaf. As the word magic devil takes it, he just laughs, stating, "Well, once I get out of here, you'll be stuck, and I won't have to worry," as he blitches upwards. As he tries to go after him, he only gets met with a blast from Dark Elf Patri, being driven back, not wanting to hurt him, since he is technically possessing the Captain of the Golden Dawn's body. This is when Nozel steps in, telling them that he'll take care of this. Asta remarking to be careful that they still have William's body, and we don't want him dead. As he sighs, remarking, "I know, but William will have some explaining to do after this." As that was going on, Nozel was able to restrain Patri, the same as in canon, encasing him in a reflected ball of mercury, making all of his attacks reflect back onto him. With that, he was able to restrain Patri, giving Asta a chance to undo the dark elf returning Patri to his senses, doing the same as in canon, smacking him over the head in the mental landscape, that he's just a kid and that he shouldn't be filled with so much hate. It isn't his fault that he had his head messed with by that devil. But now they have to make sure he pays. Extending his hand, Patri takes it, bringing him back. While this was going on, scooch back a little bit, where Nero is finding Finral unconscious, waking him up with constant pecks, giving him orders to bring her to the demon skeleton in Hod's village. Oddly complying with this, since it seems as though things are just going to keep getting more weird, and he's just going to go along with the ride. As Nero tells Finral to grab the stones, and then brings him up to the statue of the first Wizard King, instructing him to place the stones inside of the statue. Doing this ends up awakening our friend, the first Wizard King, Lumiere, as he then uses a spell to send him, Nero, aka Secre, and Finral over to the Dark Castle, dropping Finral on the way there with the Black Bulls, who are happy that he's back, as Secre opens up the Dark Castle with her sealing magic. With that, they do enter, as we have Yami and such, who have been dealing with the word magic devil. Been going a little bit better than in canon, actually. Since Yami can use his wings to fly, he's able to get in pretty close for aerial combat. Though once he unleashed the unbelievable horror of whatever that black gunk is, Yami grabs the elf incarnation of Charlotte from the Blue Rose Knights and just sees this mess going on as they continue fighting, with Patri now taken care of and all that. Lumiere and Secre come barging in and begin helping in their fight. With seeing this entire mess going on, they have to keep fighting, fending off against these attacking the mouth toothworm things that are emerging from the purple gunk. Back with Asta and them, they're trying to think about what to do now. So Asta hears something. The pedestal. He looks over there and he feels something pulsing from him as he kneels to the ground. Mosa acts as if he's okay, looking at him, seeing that something's wrong. His grimoire opens up and begins to shine a blinding light. Out of it comes a powerful dragon form that's just illuminating. The dragon then places its hand upon the pedestal that the demon used to drag its real body from hell, well, the underworld and such. As a brilliant red light began to emerge from the pedestal, the dragon, its body began to just go into the light. Once it stopped, there was some smoke, and a man stood there, laughing, remarking, "Ah, didn't think I'd even have a chance for this. You did good, son." As they see a large man with long red hair and a sharp-toothed smile as he laughed, covered in red markings. Though Asta began to gain similar red markings as he began to glow red with the markings covering his body. The man stated, and with this, now that I've left your body, your true powers as a Dragon King are awakened. Though, technically I left your grimoire, but I started out watching you from inside your body, I guess. Asta composing himself with everyone else just dumbstruck whether or not they should do anything. Audrey was shocked and stated, Igneal. What? Asta just remembering that name. Wait, what? Dad? With Igneal laughing, stating, yep. Honestly, I wasn't sure I'd ever had this kind of chance. But, with this place, and you being my son, I more or less constituted my own new body. And one with a human form. Well, humanoid, I guess. More like elf, or, not really sure what to do it, as he gestures about the dragon fin ears coming off of his head. Not really sure what to categorize himself as now. Knows he's a Dragon King. As he just drops down, hugging Asta, as he states, okay, this is, I kind of feel happy, this is weird, but this is also not the time. As he states, oh, yes, the devil. And there's also something else that I think we can do. What? As Nozel pipes up, stating, explanation, please. As he's actually quite concerned about what the hell is going on. Igneal looked at him, stating, rough summary? I'm Igneal, the Fire Dragon King. When I died due to a cowardly ambush from my mana being strained and trying to save our son, we used a form of forbidden magic to send him into the future 500 years to this period in time. But before he was sent away, we gave him some stuff like the dragon lacrimas and all that I made myself. Other than that, I put my soul inside of him in order to keep an eye on him. When he got his grimoire, I transferred to that. Met someone in there, didn't expect it to be occupied, but took advantage and linked your life forces together so that you can work together. As Asta said, wait, is that who that was? As he just smirked, stating, oh, don't worry, he's fine. Honestly, he's actually not that bad. Trust me, you'll get to know him. Eventually, I think. Though, there's something else we have to do before we go face that demon. Gesturing over to Asta to come over. He does so, standing on the pedestal. You know, piping up, asking, what are you doing? Something pretty crazy, I guess, but also something to fix what that devil did 500 years ago. Gesturing at Asta with the Demon Slayer sword, telling him to stab it into the pedestal. He nervously agreed, doing so. And then, flaring their wings in their half form, they began to use their max power. Asta going into the Black Blaze Dragon mode, Igneal juicing up his strength to the max. Everyone is feeling this massive influx of mana, with Fauna blushing a little bit, looking upwards, stating, he's returned. Noelle not knowing what to do, the attack stopped, and now she's freaking out from not one, but two frickin' giant mana sources just popping up out of nowheres. As the entire castle began to have a flame-like light coming from it, a mixture of black, red, crimson red, mind you, and phoenix blue. As these lights began to emerge from the gaps in between the bricks of the inner part of the dark castle, a tree began to form from the dark castle itself. A dark tree with red and blue lines on it, as leaves resembling fire of crimson and blue begin to emerge. Igniel yelled out, "Let's see how you like this, you devil! Tree of Reincarnation!" As beams of light began to shoot out from the inner parts of the dark castle and the outer parts as well, striking everyone who was possessed by an elf. Even Patri, taking the opportunity, Igniel uses a little bit of magic to divert what Patri saw when the devil told him everything he did, transferring this message, this image, to everyone who was affected by the ritual, even the ones who were already had the ritual undone on them. They still had traces of the in them, as well as traces of the elf mana, and using their bodies in a similar way that he did with his son, constitutes their new bodies, reincarnating the elves fully. Because for one, if Anna can regrow her entire top half after being blown off using supernatural magic, and Igniel, who obviously would have supernatural magic after pulling off what he already did to get his own body, we definitely have new. This isn't even that far out there. This causing the Magic Knights to wake up right next to their elf counterpart, fully reincarnated, and remembering that message from the devil, even the ones outside. When the Magic Knights thought they had the fight, the knights that were possessed by the elves got it in between them and explained what's going on. That they're just all being used by a devil who wanted to enter their world through the dark castle, and that their allies are fighting against it right now. If they don't succeed in it, then they would have to face the devil themselves. Keeping in mind that multiple captains are already in the castle, making them worry as the elves find a place to be secluded near the dark castle, waiting, prepared to attack if need be. No one was going to mess with the elves. For one, the ones that were used to reconstitute them new bodies were keeping the others at bay, explaining what's been going on. And also nobody also didn't want to go another round with crazy powerful elves. Though the ones who had clone bodies, their bodies were just become more fortified, meaning Licht had his official body back. As for Yuno, he just ended up with a tiny baby elf in his arms, asking, "Okay, what is this?" Gesturing at the tiny infant elf. Patri looking at this, who is now separated from William right next to him, remarking, "It's Lix." As Asta smells this, he says, looking at Igniel, he asks, "Is that baby half?" Igniel chuckles, remarking, "Yep, that's the child between Licht, the leader of the elves, and the princess of the time 500 years ago of the Clover Kingdom. Half human, half elf." As he just smirks, with everyone's jaws dropped. "Well, what are we gonna do with the baby now?" As the gunk from upstairs just begins flooding in, Igneal uses his breath to burn it away as fast as possible. With supernatural mana infused Dragon King magic now, he can burn it away. He looks at them, remarking, "You guys go on ahead and deal with with him. I gotta grab some things. Don't worry, I'll be back as soon as possible." Waving, looking back at Asta, remarking, "Hey, son." With a big grin, he looks at him, stating, "Make sure to give that bastard hell." As he states, "Right." Him and Yuno, along with Patri, bursting through, with Mimosa healing Raya, Nozel with William riding Silver Eagle in order to get around and collect everybody. Igneal, however, was going to the treasure room. He had to grab something. Upon entering, he opened up the chest and found what he was looking for, smirking. He takes 3 crystals, puts them in a bag, and then smells something. Striking it with his fist, it's the Chain Mage and the former disgraced Magic Knight captain of the Purple Orcas. As he looks at them, stating, "How annoying. But I suppose you two can be useful for something." Grabbing them and all the treasure that they were going to take, thinking that it might come in handy when dealing with all the damages that was caused. He wasn't just king in name of power, he at least knew how to organize people, and what it took to organize them back in the day. With the unholy mass of death just flooding into the castle, with Asta, Yuno, and Patri bursting through, this gave Lumiere and Licht time to work together to encase all of the elves and the people they were with, similar to as in canon. Igneal flying up, burning away the stuff as quick as possible, with Lumiere looking at these two, remarking, "No way." Seeing Yuno in his spirit dive form, and Asta in his Black Blaze dragon mode. As Sekre states, "Yes, what you're thinking is true. That's Asta." With Lumiere remarking, "No way. The little newborn? How?" With Nero remarking, he got sent to the future through forbidden magic. I don't know all the details about how it was done, but he ended up with the 5-leaf grimoire that Licht had, and even gaining something inside of it that should kill him. Let's bet Igneal's soul that was inside of it most likely did something to prevent it from killing Asta. As Lumiere was just looking at this astonished. While all this was going on, everyone was trying to fight or avoid the dark mass that was going at them. With Yami being able to fly, this does help quite a bit. With this going on, Igneal bursts from the ground in crimson flames, carrying the Purple Orcas captain and the Chain Mage. Remarking as he looks at Yami, smirking, recognizing dark magic. He yells at him to throw him Elf Sarlet. Well, then he thought for a moment to say, "Just throw me both of them." Tossing him both Sarlet and the elf Sarlet, as Sarlet is mentally panicking from being held from in Yami's arms, as the elf Sarlet just sighed in exasperation for her attitude, especially from what she learned from her in regards to Yami while they were stuck together and separating from one another. Igneal, just smirking at Lumiere and Licht, remarked, "Let me give you a hand to make this easier." Placing his hand on the Demon Dweller sword, pouring his mana into it, as these spherical forms around everybody begin to change shape into the forms of dragons, speeding up the process, sending them all to them, bursting in, with Nozel creating a floor in order for everyone to stand and for Igneal to finally drop all the weight he's been carrying around. Fauna, seeing this, begins to well up with tears, glitching towards him, stating, "Igneal!" With Igneal smirking, looking back at Asta, stating, "Looks like our son grew up quite well." Mereoleona thinking, "Wait, the hell's going on here?" Nozel patting her on the shoulder, stating, "I'll explain." With Asta and Yuno seeing this, they're more excited than ever, getting ready, with the devil being more pissed, stating that he's going to kill them, kill them, kill them, kill them. With Yuno conjuring up his wind spirit Zekre, creating a wind sword, as we just see Igneal smirk, looking back at the baby elf Yuno, remarking, "Guess you're still kinda him, aren't you?" As Asta was also getting in on this, fighting more and more, thinking about how to use his power to its max. The demon using the spear he takes out to attack. Asta begins to focus more and more, thinking, "I have to win. If I don't, everyone is going to die. If I don't, the Clover Kingdom is going to be destroyed. If I don't," looking back at Mereoleona, Phlegonion, Fauna, and Igneal, he grits his teeth, stating, "If I don't, they are going to die." As the dark flames around the Demon Slayer's sword began to extend, revealing the Demon Slayer's sword with anti-magic without the black flames covering it, creating the Dark Divider. With the fight continuing, Yami gets in on this, striking with his dark magic. Again and again they cut him more and more. As he rapidly heals, he grabs onto Yuno and Asta, yelling out he's going to kill them, kill them, kill them! As he's just raving angrily. Yami powering up, as Igneal blitches in when he sees that the word magic devil is trying to run away, followed by Mereoleona with a giant flaming dragon claw from Igneal and a giant shining lion's paw from Mereoleona. They squash the word magic devil into staying still, giving Yami the time to use his dark cloak, dark dimension slash, cutting the devil in half, spewing blood, using his magic to blast away the restraints from Igneal and Mereoleona. Asta, with what he can feel is the remainders of Black Blaze Dragon mode, bursts free, going straight for him as Yuno clears a path with his wind, with Asta yelling out, "This ends now! Slicing the devil again, cutting his heart in half. As he begins to die, he sees something. The devil inside of Asta's grimoire, with the word magic devil stating, "Who are you? Why would you side with a dragon?" As he scoffs, remarking, "That doesn't really matter now, does it? All that matters is that you're dying. And that there was no way you were winning this to begin with. You loser." As the word magic devil just disappears. After this, the dark castle begins to shake quite violently as they all hurry up to get out of there. Once out, they're met by the elves, who see Igneal and Fauna, congratulating them for being alive again. This being seen by the Magic Knights, not wanting to mess with them now that they feel a giant source of mana coming from there now that none of them recognize. Sighing from exhaustion, Asta is getting healed by Mimosa, and anyone else with healing abilities from the elves are helping out as well. With this, Mimosa then remembers taking some fabric that she grabbed from a type of curtain kind of thing for decoration that was in there, that she used in order to carry around Elf Yuno, giving him over to Licht. He just smiled, tears in his eyes. He remarks, "Thank you." Looking at Asta, he hands over the Demon Dweller sword, remarking, I think this does belong to you. I did good work with it, yeah, but I think you could do much more." Remarking, Asta just kind of laughs, until it is interrupted, being tackled by Fauna, yelling out, "Asta!" Falling over, with Mereoleona rushing in, as well as Igneal asking if Asta was okay. With us remarking, "Yeah." With Fauna now glad to have her proper memories back, and as well as her son being alive, as well as her husband. With Mereoleona griping, "Ugh, how are we going to explain this?" Igneal looks at her, remarking, "Well, for starters, we're going to need to leave. The mere fact that we're here is going to cause trouble, whether we were controlled or not, and whether the Magic Knights, who I sent that memory to, have that Mark fellow help out or not. But we can't stay here." As Asta looked up, remarking, "What?" With Fauna pouting, Igneal states it's not a good idea, especially after pointing at the destroyed, wrecked capital. They kind of understand, though they're sad. This is when Natsu drops in, biting onto Asta's head, remarking, "Where have you been?" With him yelling, "Ah, get off!" Getting Natsu off, he remarks, "I was getting Mom and Dad." As he's confused now, being pointed toward Fauna and Igneal, Natsu just remarks, we have a Mom and Dad? What?" With Fauna laughing, Igneal being, "Oh boy." With Natsu being handed over to Fauna. Fauna slaps him on the back a little bit, patting him, just stating, "Yes, her family." as Marileona slaps Asta on the back. I suppose, now that your real family's back, you'll end up going with them. Some of the others just looking at Asta. He remarks, nah, I think I'll stay here. I was raised here. And even if we're not blood, we're still family, right? Looking at Marileona with a smirk. With her smirking back, stating, huh, not a bad answer. Scratching his head, with Fauna remarking, alright, but I'm still his mother. With no... Well, and Mimosa thinking, oh yeah, that's right. Those are his parents. From looking at Fauna and Igneel. With Fauna noticing this, he hands Natsu over to Igneel, leaning towards Mimosa and Noelle, as he states, you know, if either of you are going to want to be with him, I suggest hurrying up and actually making a move. Otherwise, one of you will lose him, and the other one will have him. Just teasing them a little bit as they both blush crazily. Also asking, what did you tell them? He states, oh, nothing. This is when Raya, Veto, and Patri come up as well and apologize for what they did. Asta remarked, look, let's just agree to blame the devil on this. So you did cause some problems. So, how about as a punishment and a way to redeem yourselves, from here on, you'll be the ones guarding the elves. Deal? Looking at Asta, who's just smirking, they smile, stating, deal. Asta thinking, he grabs his bag and pulls something out, throwing it to Patri, Veto, Raya, and Fauna, stating, and these will help you do it. If I'm not mistaken, this was your plan to begin with, right? Igneel looking at the lacrimos that he threw at them. He smirks, remarking, yes, it was. Raya getting an ether dragon lacrima that would turn him into a copy dragon. Fauna receiving a sun dragon lacrima that would turn her into a phoenix, well, a solar phoenix dragon. Licht getting a white dragon lacrima that would turn him into a light dragon. And lastly, an armor dragon lacrima given to Veto that would turn him into a armored beast dragon. Looking at Asta, they asked, are you sure? Asta just laughs, stating, oh, I got an idea on how to help out with things. But yeah, I'm sure. With Igneel remarking, thank you, Asta, but we should get leaving. Asta looking at Natsu pats him on the head, stating, you should get going with Mom and Dad. Things are probably gonna get a little confusing here already. As he asks, are you gonna be able to see each other again, Asta? Asta just smirked, stating, of course. You bet. With this, goodbyes are said, and Patri and William say their goodbyes as well. Which, before they leave, obviously Raya and such say their goodbyes as well and all that, with, of course, the Wraith magic idiot swearing his undying vengeance on Patri, or whoever he really is. With Patri laughing with his one dark elf eye, stating, I'm okay with that. With Raya's copy magic, using spatial magic to get them out of there, they say their goodbyes. And Asta just sits on the ground, stating, this is gonna be so much trouble. As William and Yami are gone, looking for the Wizard King, only to find, as in canon, he has turned into a kid. As for the elves, they made a stop. As Igneel just remembered something, asking Raya to make a portal. Raya just sighs, making one for him, stating, "You're always like this, you know that?" With him laughing, stating, "I know." Dropping in, he lands back down, shocking everybody that he's back, with Igneel stating, "I almost forgot," tossing over a bag to Asta. As he opens it, revealing clear crystals with marks in them, 3 of them. Igneel states that they can talk about it later, but long story short, those are called Devil Slayer marks. And I'm sure they'll be handy. Even now, well, even more so now from what I'm feeling from up north. Gesturing in the direction of the Spade Nation. Mereoleona states, "Okay, you came all the way here to hand him those, so mind explaining?" As he states, there is only one dragon. Well, there's one terrifying dragon in the world that is still alive, that I know will cause trouble. Even more so what I can feel surrounding him. Yet telling them that he's a Dragon King and his sense of mana is insane, even to span across countries. Asta can learn it too, but it will take some time. Telling them something shocking. That the dragon he's most worried about causing havoc, named Agnologia. As well as this Agnologia, he can feel is surrounded, not in a hostile way, surrounded by humans who have devils inside the grimoires. This shocking them, Igneel hops through the portal again, remarking, "We can talk about this later, but be careful." As he left, with Mereoleona looking in that direction, he can only think of one nation that's out that way. The Spade Nation, huh? That's just gonna be a headache. As members of some members of the Eye of the Midnight Sun show up trying to kill the king, only to be saved by Haha and the scale magic user, Dimancio, who was just seeing the wreckage, as he is not pleased. Though, after a day with the former Purple Orca's captain, the Chain Mage, Sally, and her cohorts being forced to work with Jack on cleaning up the entire mess, which is now the capital, the king, as well as the head of the Magic Parliament, Dimancio, were met by the Wizard King, who, thanks to Gray's help, was transformed, using her magic in order to disguise him as his original self, which I don't know why they didn't do. We've seen Gray turn a rock into food that seems to also come with the sense of smell. As this was going on, explaining the information they got from the revived Dragon King Igneel. Obviously, the king was in distress, freaking out about some kind of evil Dragon King working with devils in the Spade Nation. As Dimancio hears this, he also has the report that they've been suppressing about Asta being half dragon, half elf. He brings it up, asking about what they're going to do with Asta. Julius focuses, stating, after this event, Asta has been, well, he's more or less ascended to the full power of a Dragon King himself. And we know our records about dragons are accurate. We also know what they are capable of doing, implying that they shouldn't push their button, considering Asta is now a Dragon King, and his father, also a Dragon King, probably wouldn't take too kindly to any hostile attempts towards him. Accepting this as it is, they use Mark as a way to show off the memory of the devil, giving an image in order to show them. As for Sekre, while everybody was saying their goodbyes and such to the elves, he was saying hers to Lumiere, and is now hanging out with the Black Bulls. With the current state of things, they now know a couple of things. One, the elves have returned. The former Fire Dragon King of Legend, Igneal, has also returned. They currently have a new Fire Dragon King within their borders, and who seems to also be half elf, being Asta, in the work of being a magic knight with the Black Bull squad. And lastly, they now have to worry about some evil dragon working with devil-possessed humans in the Spade Nation. So they really don't have time for any kind of blame making, besides for the word magic devil and revealing the long-forgotten Dark Castle to help sell it, as some of the people from the noble realm did see it, since how could you not, the thing was huge. The story did hold some level of water, and they already knew about devils for quite a long time, even people in the Forsaken realm. So they skipped the trial and try to figure out what to do. As this was going on, Sekre was introduced into the Black Bulls and thanked for her for what she did. He asked why, with Yami stating, why not? If you ask me, you've already been part of the Black Bulls for quite a long time. With Zora also stating, you're pretty chill about handing out those robes, aren't you? With Yami laughing, stating, says someone else I gave a Magic Knight robe to on the fly, huh? With him just flicking his tongue, Asta looked at them, thanking them for their help, and thanking the Nero for helping him out as well, with Nero remarking, well, I didn't actually watch you, per se, I was more or less watching the Grimoire, but it was nice to see that you survived that tragedy. With him remarking, wait, what? As he revealed that he's over 500 years old and was there to see infant Asta, shocking everybody. But Asta just began to laugh, stating, alright, well, you guys are both pretty great, and I think you would make even better, as he reached into the bag, throwing them lacrima, dragons, but only if you accept. Zora remarking, okay, what exactly is your plan handing these out? Asta sighs and remarks, it's pretty simple. First, I gotta find people I can trust from every kingdom. The Clover, Spade, Diamond, and Heart Kingdom. Then I'll hand them some lacrimas. I'll only give it to the ones I feel I can trust, because once they become dragons, they'll be more or less a deterrent to make sure that the kingdoms won't war against each other. After all, if that happens, there would be a high chance of dragons running amok and, well, destroying both, if not all, of the kingdoms. Yami, looking at him, stating, mutual destruction, huh? With Asta smirking, stating, more or less. I figured if there was an equal chance that they both get destroyed, then there wouldn't be any attempt in causing a war, right? With Yami taking a big breath of smoke, he breathes out, just laughing, stating, that's actually not the worst idea. Though, I wonder if you have anybody in mind for the Diamond Kingdom, since they aren't really friendly towards us. With him smirking, he states, yeah, I do. But right now, the Diamond Kingdom needs to get a little better. And I haven't even met the other kingdoms. Not to mention that there's that apparent warning my dad gave me from about the Spade Nation, apparently. And we don't know where him and the other elves went to, so. With Yami just laughing, stating, that's fair. But what did you give them? Also remarks that he gave Sekre a bone dragon lacrima, and he gave Zora a frost dragon. With Zora's ash magic, now with the frost dragon lacrima, it will turn him into something called a wasteland dragon. As for Sekre, she can use the bones for more attack power and such, instead of just sealing things away. Sekre looked at him, asking, you, sir? With him smirking, stating, yeah. I think this should help you live your own life now. You're free. As he thanks Asta, and Zora thanks him as well, thinking that it might actually be pretty interesting, and he can put those snobby royals and nobles in their place for looking down at commoners, especially when one becomes a dragon. Asta remarks, well, that's still gonna take a lot of time. Though, I suppose with the ones I gave my mom and the others, they'll actually turn a lot faster. With Yami stating, why? As he remarks in that he knows that the lacrimas were tailored for the elves, not humans. It's why they aren't turning into dragons so quickly. But the elves will probably turn a lot faster. Their wings and such are more or less just access mana being solidified into wings and tails and stuff. So it's more like a spell than actually a body part at the moment. As they do accept the lacrimas. And for the time being, we'll be stopping here on this part. I do hope you have enjoyed. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys later.